I like how it came out. I like it. I like it. I like it. What's up, y'all? Happy Tuesday. I'm not even going to run my mouth long because I'm just a guest here tonight. I'm just going to talk and I'm just going to think tonight. So I'm not going to say much, but you know where to find us. You know how to find us. You know what to do. Welcome to Free Thinkers.
Denise,
If you want to talk a little bit, I'm going to start sharing places.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same. Go ahead, Denise. You got it.
Okay, perfect. So y'all, welcome to Free Thinkers. Now, I'm excited to see where this topic is going to go. So for those who don't know where we're going with, when did you know? I was watching this interview with this divorce attorney, and he asked one of his clients during the break, when did she know that it was over between her and her husband? And the answer was so simple. She said, when he stopped buying me granola. Normally, he would, before it even ran out, he would know to go get more. So she tested him and she said, well, maybe he doesn't know. I'll just leave it in there for a little bit longer. Still didn't buy the granola. She goes, okay, well, let me take it out of the cabinet and maybe he'll notice it then. Still did not buy the granola. And something about that moment made her realize something was off and this thing was probably over. So the divorce attorney asked her, well, was there anything like that on your end? And she said, yeah, blowjobs. She said when they were first dating, she used to give him blowjobs all the time. Even when they first got married before work, she would give him the blowjobs. He'd be texting her after work, during work, yeah, I got some extra pep in my step today. And he would be so excited about these blowjobs. And then it got to a point where she was like, well, I'll just wait until he comes home so we can both get off. And it just kind of, I guess, snowballed from there. And he did ask her, which one do you think came first? And she could honestly say she did not know. So from there, my mind just started going. And I was wondering, how many small things in our lives are signs of something much deeper going on? So that is how we got to this topic today. So...
But just a little backstory, though.
Mm-hmm.
The video that you posted, the video that you shared, the conversation that you shared with this divorce attorney, and I don't know who the other person was. I completely zoned out once he started talking, so I don't know if it was just a reporter or an interviewer or what. But the video that Denice is talking about, we've got it posted on the Facebook Free Thinkers group page. It's pinned at the top where tonight's conversation is. It's in the body of the comments. And it's like an hour and 10-minute video. So, I mean, it's long. It's one of those I actually listened to twice. I listened to it last week when you sent it, and then I listened to it again today. And I'm so glad I listened to it again today, because after the first 5 minutes, I was like, fuck, I need to get a pen and a paper and hold on. We've got a whole entire year's worth of material in the first 5 minutes of this man's conversation. So I did. I took the day off. I worked 17 hours yesterday. I got 2 hours of sleep. I sat outside in the sun and I just sun sessioned all day and listened to this again this morning, and just took all these bits and pieces of things that this divorce attorney said, and literally have 6 pages of notes, 3 pages front to back, of just hella poignant things that this, and again, I'm going to keep stressing it, divorce attorney. This is the attorney that you go to when you're trying to drag somebody through hell and back. And his perspective, even on what he said, sometimes he's doing 5 to 10 divorces per month, depending on the season, if it's wedding season or not. He still believes in love. He still believes in love. So I say all that to say, go watch the video, because what Denice has pulled out of that video is just a very small component to the whole picture of really marriage, divorce, having tough conversations. I was like, this could be an entire marriage 101 course that we do. But there was not a single thing that he said that I could disagree with. Not one. I mean, I literally have so many notes. Look, I even said it to somebody that I know, and I was like, you need to listen to this. I was like, whenever you have time to just sit and listen to this, sit and listen to this and see what you think, you know. It was just major gems. So I like that that's what you pulled out of it, because I probably would have gone past that had you not pulled that out, because there was so many gems in it. But the heart of that conversation is really what you're talking about. You know, when did you know, the fine tuning and pinpointing the areas in your marriage that you knew it was over?
Yeah.
What happened? You know, so I love this. I love the video. So y'all go watch the video if you haven't watched it. Like I said, it is long, but it is posted on the Free Thinkers group page, and it is absolutely worth a listen to the entire thing.
Yes. So before we get started, I do want to note that this conversation could possibly be triggering for you. It could be. If you had a bad divorce or a bad breakup, you might get in your fifis. Be aware of that. What are you gonna say?
You're right. You're right. I agree with that. It's just like,
you might be in your fifis. You might hear somebody say some things, and you gotta understand, like, we're having conversation. So, with that being said,
and you know where you are, so
right, a safe space. So, with that being said, I do want to ask everybody, when did you know it was over?
well, I see we got some folks on here. Let's see if they want to chime in first. No.
Well, I'm in Nebraska right now, and I'm trying to work on my headset. So.
Oh, that's you hooking on. Who's the other one? I can't see. I ain't got my glasses on.
That's one of my buddies.
Oh, okay.
So
Cool.
I'll tell you, I knew there's for my last relationship, I knew it was over when she said I want a divorce.
Damn.
Wow.
Prior to that, we were in a good space. Everything was, if you would have asked me how we was doing the day before, I've been like, oh yeah, we good. Cool. So yeah, it really, I wasn't expecting that. Now we went through a good deal of stuff in our past, to where at certain times back in our past, I would have saw where it was over for either one of us. But it gets to a place like, you know, you get past the childish stuff, you get past the little stuff, you grow up, you mature, you start acting right, all of that, and then you think you got past, you know, the rough turbulence, and I guess it wasn't. I was as shocked as anybody when I heard that. It wasn't nothing that I ever saw coming.
And even today, knowing what you know now, you know, another relationship, having gone through divorce, gotten older, just obviously we get more seasoned. Even today, can you look back and say, okay, there was some things I just didn't know, I didn't see, I missed, like, or was really immature. Okay. So today you see that, but back then you really had no clue until she said she wanted to be divorced. Damn.
Well, no, I mean, not even from the aspect of the divorce. I didn't see that coming. But there's certain things that, so for instance, things that I didn't see is the insecurity that she had. And certain things a lot of times you can do the same things, but with different motivations. So for example, both of us had cheated throughout our relationship. The reasons I cheated and the reasons that she cheated was two totally different things. You know, and a lot of hers had to do with just self-esteem issues and looking and feeling and wanting to doing things, trying to make yourself feel better about you. And I didn't even realize it. I'm probably telling too much information, but that's all right. I didn't even realize it until later when because I'm not a intrusive person. I'm not a snooping person. I'm not none of that. But like, even when I saw some of the stuff with people that she was dealing with or whatever, the weird thing was, it wasn't like, oh man, she doing X, Y, and Z. Just when I was looking at it, I was like, when I looked at the nature of the conversation, like with people that she was texting back and forth and stuff like that, like she was reaching out even stronger for attention. Like, and they was kind of like, okay, you know, the dude was like, all right, like, what are you trying to get at? Like, the dudes already know, like, it's only so far we're gonna go with this. Like, you got a full-blown family and all this, and they just like, I don't know what you want me to. And she was like, you can tell the one who was needy for attention and for affirmation and for, you know, so even looking back in hindsight, I would have said I would have been more attentive to those needs had I paid better attention. And I can't base everything off of how I feel that I am. And I'm like a whatever type of person. I'm very secure within myself. But you still have to deal with each person where they are, especially when you're talking about your spouse. So it's a lot of different directions I can go, but that's just one example or the direction that
Before we get off UQ, I do want to ask, do you feel like had you been more attentive, that would have made a difference in whether she cheated or not?
Not in whether she cheated. I think that was gonna come regardless. But possibly in how we, well, you know, I can't even say how we bounced back because we did bounce back from it. The only thing I say, the only one thing that I think would have really made a difference, and this is the strangest part, is if we would have actually had more support from our family. Like the majority of our relationship and marriage, it was a struggle. Number one, it was a financial struggle. She was going through school for probably the 10 years we were married. She was probably in school for like 8 of those years. So he would do some type of part-time working or whatever, and I was working full-time, but like we didn't have a lot of money. Then we had young children, and so the little things that you want to get to do, like going out on dates and taking walk, just the small stuff, a lot of that wasn't available to us. But once we really had kids, and my parents, because my first son and my daughter were my mother and father's first grandchildren. So they were excited. They wanted, but they live in another city. They live in another state. So they're not available to, oh, let me take my grandbabies. Right. And her mother, that was like, she had like 6 or 7 grandkids already because her older sister had a lot of kids. So she wasn't trying to help us out unless it was just like absolutely it had to be like an emergency for her to help us out. And I really believe like if we just had the support from our extended family just to give us some relief so we could have some time to ourselves and continue to grow together, I think we still probably would have been together through then. But like you going through school, it was just always struggle. She fighting through school, we fighting to pay the bills, we fighting dealing with children, and you look up and there's no just one-on-one time with each other. Then it's now you just got to find spots for your own personal sanity, and we kind of grew apart in certain ways.
Nikki, when did you know it was over?
I knew this answer when I left. I knew this answer, preparing myself to leave, right? My daughter was entering 12th grade. She was going to graduate high school, and my oldest was starting high school. My oldest was graduating from high school, starting her senior year, and my youngest was starting kindergarten. And I don't know why I had such a fucking epiphany when I'm planning for kindergarten graduation and high school graduation with my first and my last kids, that I just saw like my whole life flash in front of my eyes. And in a matter of minutes, fucking Kasha went from an infant, a kindergartner, a first grader, a third grader, a sixth grader, eighth grader, a ninth grader, to graduating high school. And my last baby, because at that time I didn't know if I'd have any more. I always wanted more kids, but I didn't know if I'd have any more. We were already in a strenuous relationship as was, so bringing more children into it would not have been a wise thing, I don't believe, right? So kind of trying to make peace with the fact that this is my last baby starting school, and pretty soon my last baby is going to be my last baby graduating high school. And here I am. I think I was 35 or 37. I think I was either 35 or 37, between those ages. And I knew that once my baby graduated high school, that was going to be it for me. My kids were all gone. They were out of the house. They were doing what they're supposed to do. They would all be of age, right? This is before Carter had diabetes, so we had no fucking clue that he's probably going to be here forever. I'm so okay with that. But I looked at my life as it's fucking halfway over. And I don't want to spend the last half without what I felt like was my forever best friend. Did we love each other? Abso-fucking-lutely. Till we die, you know? Was I in love with this person? Abso-fucking-lutely. I read something years later that the hardest relationships to get over are the ones that you leave when you love them, as opposed to when you fucking hate them when you leave, right? I didn't hate him. I hated what I allowed. I hated what things had kind of become in my relationship anyways. And after 16 years, you know, we had an unfortunate incident one day, and that was just it. I'd already kind of had the wheels spinning in my head of plan your exit. Because we tried for 15 years. We tried for 16 years. Like, I remember always hearing Dr. Phil say something when he was on TV, that you have to work your way out. You don't just get to leave. Like, you have to do the work first. And I thought, well, goddamn, if I haven't done the fucking work, if we haven't done the work, and this is where it still is, I don't want to do this for another 20 years. I don't want my kids to all be grown, me be 50 and starting over. And yet here I am. That was it, you know. I mean, I had one other very long-term committed relationship prior to that relationship, and I only had one, you know, relationship since then. So the totality of my 45 years on this planet, you know, I've had 3 very committed, you know, relationships. But that one obviously was the longest, and that's when I knew it was time to leave. And that, of course, has been the catalyst for the last 7 years of decision making and growth for me as a woman, as a mother, as a partner, as a wife, as a best friend, as a whatever you want to call it. But I knew I wasn't going to have a best friend. I didn't know I'd have that happily ever after thing. I didn't know if I was going to have that, and I needed that. I know that I like companionship. I need my man to be my best fucking friend all day, every day. So it was you know, it was a terribly, terribly challenging thing, and it's been challenging these last 7 years. But today, we're actually friends.
Wow.
It's taken a fucking lot to get to this place. But we're definitely friends today. So it's interesting how it works, right? But that's what that was my aha moment.
Before we get off you, Nikki, I want to ask this question. Mm-hmm. When did you realize that you needed a best friend as a partner? Was it that moment?
I think because, you know, you want what you give, and when what you give doesn't always feel like it's returned. And I get that we all have different ways of returning things, right? Like, it doesn't mean that if I wanted a certain way, this is the way it has to be, or it didn't happen. Like, I realize that love and validation can come in a lot of different ways. Different people show it different ways. But I just didn't feel like the value of who I was I didn't feel like there was value to who I was. And I was not going to just be you know, the lady that took care of everything for everybody and didn't get her needs met. I would rather, you know, I watched my parents split at 50 years old. That was fucking horrible. That was horrible. 50 years old, starting all over, you know, and I never left with the intention of finding a best friend or hurrying up and getting a man, because I really haven't had one since. So it wasn't ever the intention of trying to find something else. It was whatever I did to allow, whatever we did to let this be the norm, I'm not doing that again. And I've worked diligently hard at not repeating some of those cycles.
Yeah.
But in that, you know, again, friendship has blossomed. So it's like, go fucking figure. Did I need a best friend? I don't know, because I'm very happy with solitude today. I'm very happy with being by myself today. I don't need another person. I want another person. I want companionship. So I want that from a person. And I realize all people don't want that. But we were 21 years old. 21 to almost 40. We didn't know shit.
Yeah. Wow. That I was taking some notes when you and Q were talking. Now, do I pronounce this Justin, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Justin. Justin's one of my new buddies.
Welcome to the show. Welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight.
No problem. No problem. When I seen Imani posted, I was like, oh, let me join this.
So tell us, when did you know it was over?
I knew my marriage was over. I knew, well, I don't want to say I knew when it was over. I knew that marriage wasn't going to last forever the day of our wedding.
Oh.
Just when it was just a shift in energy. It was just like a big shift. So like when we had the we got married, we went to the courthouse, but then we had rented out this restaurant, and my ex-wife, she had gotten I don't know, she just wanted the seating to be a certain way. It was like my family, her family, and stuff. And she had gotten extremely, extremely pissed because something with her dad. And then like she just like kind of went off on me. And I'm just like, for no reason, like I did absolutely nothing. And I was just like, that was just like the biggest red flag. Like we just got married like probably like an hour or two prior. And I was just like, what the fuck? Wow. And yeah. So that always stuck out to me or whatever. So I don't want to say like I knew from then, but like that, like I knew like that was an issue. Yeah. And it led to becoming an issue. Also, she was also pregnant at the same time. We found out she was pregnant about a week before we got married. Yeah, everything happened all at once.
So the pregnancy is, were you already planning to get pregnant before that?
Yeah, we were
married before that.
Yeah, okay. We had planned to get married before the pregnancy, everything. Like we had a big like engagement party and stuff like a month ahead of time. And yeah, we found out she was pregnant like a week. Like we got the apartment. We got like everything was just happening all so quick. Like, we just got approved for the apartment and everything. So we had the place and we were about to move in. Like we moved in like maybe like a couple days after the wedding. But yeah. So
ooh, okay.
Yeah. So like we didn't think that she was gonna get pregnant like so quick. Like it just
dang, yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, now that quick.
That's hard to reacclimate to married life because you don't get that space to just be married alone together. It's already another one on the way.
Fucked it up.
Exactly.
I mean, and anybody tell you like at all, if possible, it's best to at least give yourself 18 months after you're married.
Right.
Get a chance to enjoy each other, spend time, get that sex in right and good and all that stuff. But as soon as the children come in, all that, priorities are shifting immediately.
Because also she was older than me, so I was 28. I was 28 and she was 35. So she kind of wanted to have a child.
Her clock was ticking. Your clock was ticking.
Yeah, exactly.
How long had y'all been together before y'all got married? Just curious.
Before we got married, we were together for about 3.5 years.
So you spent some time with each other.
Yeah.
Had y'all lived together before y'all got married?
That was another issue.
Oh shit.
That was another issue. We had not lived together. I had my own place. She had her own place.
Oh, so that's why it became clear that you have to have.
And I always used to say this. I always told, I said, we should probably live together before we get married.
I agree.
I told her this. From before. I was like, we should live together before we get married. But she didn't want to be, quote unquote, shacking up. And I'm like, whatever, I respect it, right? Because she had, like I said, she was older than me, so she had an experience. She had in a relationship where she had been with some guy for like 8 or 9 years, and they had lived together, never got engaged, anything, blah, 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 all that good shit. You know, so she was scarred from her experiences. So I'm like, whatever, I respect it. You know, sometimes you respect things that you shouldn't have respected.
Boy.
Yeah.
Boy.
You know what I should. You know what I should.
It happens. Yeah, I mean, but that's what life is all about. Life is all about.
Put that on a t-shirt.
You know,
right?
Man. Yeah. So, yeah. So from then, like, just dealing with, she had really bad mood swings, extremely bad mood swings. So I used to just work. I just used to work, or I stayed at work all the fucking time
to avoid that shit.
So you started
any overtime, I was staying there. I'm there. I took all the overtime. Like, I was swimming in money because I took all the fucking overtime during the pregnancy, so I didn't have to be in the house with her that much.
That's the first sign, number one, in any relationship. If you dread going home,
trying to avoid going home,
does not give you a peaceful response inside.
That's when you know. So I'm gonna hop over to Jules and ask her. Jules, first of all, you look fucking amazing. Damn.
It's Mardi Gras season. She's in her element.
Right? You know
it. I'm like, okay. When did you know it was over?
So the key defining was this one night. It was the Christmas holidays. About a month and a half before I found out he was like confirmed that my ex-husband was cheating, and family was in town, and it was busy, and it was chaos and all of the things. And remember, we had moved here to Austin and picked up and left everything that we knew. And then 5 months later, Hurricane Katrina had hit. So 3 months after that, I was in the hospital, in and out, and ended up having surgery. So our life got completely blown up. March of 2004. So this is now 2006 and no, 2006, Christmas time. And something in the conversation, he got up from the sofa sitting next to me. And when he stood up, he turned and he looked at me with this look of just disgust and did one of these with his hand, like he was brushing me off. And it was like, it was a dagger. It was a knife in my gut, looking back, that was the moment that I probably knew that it was over for him. He was willing to keep things going, of course, until I filed for divorce. But that was that key when I realized that something was, I knew I had been feeling, but I just figured it was all the stress of everything that we were going through.
Yeah.
And we had spent so many years together at that point. It was like, okay, well, you know, we'll get through this too. It'll be okay. And
right.
Yeah. And
so I do want to ask this question, but I don't know if this is going to get us way off topic. I'll just ask it just random and we can get back, because I want to ask you Hukanan when he knew it was over. How much of the relationship do you think is your relationship with each other versus the circumstances surrounding your relationship? If you had to give it a percentage, or the circumstances surrounding your life.
I think that You know, I think that there are definitely people in this world and relationships that we can build that are strong enough to get through. If the communication is there, if the trust is there, if all of those things are there, and if you're just a solid foundation rock for each other, and you have built that, and you have the support like Q was talking about, if you've got a support network that is around you, but that's still part of your relationship. And you know, when you don't have those things, the wear and tear that it puts, I think that the actual circumstances around you are massive, right? They talk about stress and money and how those things end up killing relationships all the time. So I think that that's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think about 65-70% was based. It came from circumstance. If the circumstances was different, then I definitely think we could have worked through whatever it was. I just think it was the extended circumstance, like just the ongoing struggle without any relief, put a strain.
Yeah.
And then by the time, which I told her that, by the time she realized it was just a pocket or a strain, or just, you know, this is just how I was feeling long-term temporarily. And, you know, by the time you came to your senses, then I'm gone. So, you know, it's just missed. But yeah, I definitely think under different circumstances, if I was in the position where I am now, like just financially, well, I've been comfortable up until I purchased this house, and now I'm not comfortable again. But I've for the most part of the last 5 or 6 years, I've been very comfortable. Had we been able to like now, you know, I get to travel and I get to go on vacations, and I get we never got to do any of that stuff and just go out on dates and just, you know, we didn't get to do that stuff because it was a different circumstance. So I think it would have been, you know, I'm sure it would have been different to some degree.
Yeah. Yeah. Yehukanan, can you talk? If so, I want to know.
So what's happening?
What's up? When did you know it was over?
I don't know if I could be transparent right now. Not just playing. When we started sleeping in separate rooms, it wasn't no longer in the same bed and avoiding each other. And the final nail in the coffin when I was presented with the divorce papers. So, I already knew that, you know, it was over when, you know, we started like sleeping in separate beds. So, you know, just kind of progressed from there. And one thing I learned is that when a woman checks out mentally, it's practically over. Now, I didn't realize it at the time in regards to how that works with women, and as far as them mentally checking out. Yeah, she was just mentally like already on to the next phase, basically. So, you know, the process just started shortly after that. Yeah, but it was a build up though. It was a build up because we started off as Christians as far as like that goes, and then I started to make this spiritual transition because I started to do research on my own religion that, you know, I was 10 toes down for. And then I started doing some homework and started learning that, you know, what I believed in before is a lie, or it has pagan roots. So I started to sit back and had to think of like, hold on, like what's going on here? So I was ready to make that transition, and I guess she wasn't. She was ready to stay within the parameters of celebrating Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter. I was ready to make that transition. I was throwing, you know, signs out there like, yo, I read this book, you know, check it out here, you know. And at the time, she kind of like bypassed reading it because she was so focused on her master's program at the time.
You wanted her to make that transition with you, though.
Yeah, because if we're going to be in a relationship together and we're going to be committed, and you take the vows and that says, for better, for worse, to sickness and the health, to death do you part. You got to understand what that means in regard to, okay, if we're at a low position, we stick together. If we're at a high position, we stick together. If I do this, you rock with me. Not be like, oh, I'm throwing in the towel, I'm out. I didn't sign up for this. No, you signed up for it. You knew what time it was. So don't sit up here and say you didn't sign up for it. And I don't think people understand when they take those vows what they actually mean. When it says for better or for worse, it means exactly that. And not just, especially if you took the time to get to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you're getting into. You make this commitment.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's different situations for people, but whatever. But when you stand at that altar and you make a vow and then you break your vow, your word is not your bond anymore, in my opinion. So, we had that commitment. What's up?
So, okay. So when you all met, you were both Christians.
Right.
And your whole marriage was based on Christian principles at that time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my question is, if you all built a marriage on Christian principles, I imagine this had to be a very hard transition to make. When you realized you no longer went to practice Christianity, was it, hey, I'm not practicing this and you can't practice this because I'm your husband and we're transitioning to this? What was that conversation like? Was it this is what's happening? Like, what was the conversation like, I guess is my question.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
That's actually biblical. Tell you the truth. Because
Unequally yoked.
No, in the Christian Bible, it talks about allowances for divorce, and it talks about it is part of unequally yoked, but then it goes on to talk about if you come into the faith and you're married to someone who doesn't believe,
Mm-hmm.
then don't divorce them as long as they're okay with you believing what you believe. Then no, there's no reason to dissolve a marriage as long as they're not trying to fight you for what you believe.
Right.
Yeah, I guess that's my real question. You hooking on? Was it, hey, this is what I'm practicing and I want you to practice this too? On her end, was it this? It sounds like
What?
you crushed ice.
I'm gonna unmute them as soon as you finish your question.
Okay.
Cool.
So the question is, when you converted, was your expectation that she had to convert and that was the only way you all could continue on? And was her expectation that you have to continue to be Christian for you all to continue on? Like, what was the expectation after you converted?
The expectation was evolving and growing and being willing to step outside of that comfort zone. Because for me, it was like, people say they don't like being lied to.
Mm-hmm.
People don't like being lied to. So if people say they don't like being lied to, and then somebody lied to them, and then you show them the proof and they don't believe it, it's kind of like, I'm like, oh, but I thought you didn't like being lied to. And I'm giving you the evidence. So the expectation is, are you humble enough to step outside of your comfort zone and evolve?
Ooh,
Can you?
I have so many questions I want to ask you, but I know Q has some questions too.
No, I don't. It's a lot I would say, but you're speaking about your personal experience, so I'm not going. That your experience is your experience. I ain't gonna jump into that, but yeah, go ahead.
I guess my question is like,
I guess I didn't answer your question.
No, you answered it. You absolutely answered it.
I wasn't finished though. I wasn't finished with my thought.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Because you asked me a question as far as that. When it was time to start the process, of course, it was rough because you're asking somebody to stop what they're doing that they've been doing for so long. And, you know, they may not receive it, you know, as well as I would receive it. So, you know, for me, it was like an easy transition because I did the homework. I did the research. I was studying up on it. And I was like, well, you know, so if you see something and you're studying up on it and you share it with somebody and they be like, nah, I don't believe that. You know, it's a family tradition. I'm gonna stick with that. It's kind of like, well, damn. But I was willing to grind it out though and see what would happen. See if there would be some type of change or transition. So she wanted to, you know, basically two different beliefs under the same household. And yeah, that can work, but a lot of the times it because, you know, when you get children involved and y'all got two different beliefs, it's a whole nother ball game. That was a struggle. And then, you know, I was willing to like, okay.
Expectation was for her to convert. And that was the only way that y'all could
at some point, because we talked about it. So, you know, and
you talked about it when? Before you got married or after you converted?
During the beginning stages of the marriage. Like actually no, I think it was before we got married. Before we got married because we did the marriage counseling thing before we got married. We did the marriage counseling and whatnot.
You had converted before that. You had converted before.
I was starting the process of it, like as far as like, because I needed to know more. It wasn't just like you know, I found out about it and I wanted to know more about it, but I wanted to like, you know, show her because she was about to be my wife as far as like, you know, informing her about what I know and learned. So, you know, we did talk about that as far as like, you know, is she willing to make that transition? We did talk about that.
So to be clear, you were still figuring it out before marriage. You weren't completely sure. And then you discussed it a little bit with her, what you had been learning. You got married on Christian principles, and then the expectation was to still convert after marriage. At some point, you were expecting her to convert, and she agreed.
Or the change, yeah. But you know, I guess at some point she kind of changed her mind a little bit. She wasn't willing to give up those traditions, those principles. So I guess her mind kind of shifted in a sense once it actually started to get real as far as like giving up these holidays and whatnot.
Was giving up holidays a part of the expectation? Or
because each holiday, when you do the research, had pagan origins in it. No matter how you try and slice the pie or try and cover it up. And I was like, I'm not about to get involved in something when I know the history and the origin of it. I'm not about to do that. I'm just not. No, especially when I know about it. When I grew up learning that it was one thing and learning that it is not, I'm like, no, I'm cool. I'm good. I don't. It's like it's going back to like, you know. You don't like being lied to. I don't like being lied to, and I've been taught this lie my entire life, and now I know the truth about it. Why would I still continue to do it?
Right.
Why?
It sounds very complicated. You know, it sounds a little confusing. I have to be honest, because, like, did you all get married in a church? How?
No. It wasn't married in a church. It was at a wedding venue.
At a wedding venue, was there who married you all?
A Christian pastor?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
somebody she knew.
This is where I get confused, you Huguenot, because it's like if I like, let's say if I was a woman, I was marrying a man and he was converting to something new, he was learning new things. I don't know. It doesn't sound like it was official at the time of the marriage. And then we got married in a Christian ceremony.
Well, when you say Christian ceremony, what do you mean by that? Because that sounded like a little too on the churchy side, because it wasn't that.
It was a Christian pastor.
I mean, did your homeboy marry you or did a pastor marry you? Like, who married you? And what hand did y'all put? Y'all put your hand on the book?
A pastor. No, we didn't put our hands on the book.
We didn't
do nothing like that.
Include the word
we
God?
we did, huh?
Did your vows include the word God?
No, we had written our own vows. And well, first it was the traditional vows that you say at a wedding, and then we had expressed our own vows to each other.
Well, the term God is so vague that wouldn't matter. But what you would say is, I'm sure most people would not, if you are of a Christian or a Muslim faith, you wouldn't go to a Buddhist priest and allow them to officiate your marriage and the joining of your union. Or, you wouldn't go to if you are a spiritual believing person, you wouldn't go to an atheist and have them officiate and finalize.
It was somebody that we knew, though, for sure. And he was a minister or a pastor of a church.
I mean, we can jump back in a second, but I think what Denice is getting to is you had the ceremony and the covenant that was made between you and her was done under Christian observation because you had a Christian pastor. So I don't know how far Denice is trying to go with this, as far as like, was it an unfair expectation to expect her to make that type of transition when your original covenant was under this other religion?
I wouldn't even say unfair. I would say my original covenant wasn't this another religion. My original covenant was under the Christian belief. At that time, I was still, basically learning and researching. So we didn't have two different marriages. We had the one marriage under the Christian belief, and I was at the time learning in regards to the Christian faith, as far as what I believed in. So we didn't have like two different marriages.
Right. That's the point.
Or two different ceremonies.
Right.
That's the point that we're making, is like, or at least the point I'm trying to make is that if the ceremony was a Christian ceremony, but then the expectation was for there to be some sort of conversion after having a Christian ceremony, it just doesn't seem like the best recipe for conversion. Because I'm not thinking after having a Christian ceremony that I can no longer celebrate Christmas or Easter, because our whole marriage, or at least the ceremony piece, was built on this very thing that you say that you no longer want to participate in.
You changed your mind. You changed the terms. I mean, simply put, you changed the terms. A girlfriend of mine, her and her husband went through that 7 years into their marriage. They were both Christian, born and bred, literally. And halfway through, he converted to Islam. And I mean, they're still together now. Our kids are 27 years old. So I mean, here they are, still 27, 28 years later, they're still together. But it was immeasurably challenging because, they then had a daughter, and you have a Muslim man having a daughter. This is his first daughter, and then they had two sons, and I mean, there's just different rules and principalities, right? Regarding all the bounds of the different types of religions that one subscribes to, and for my girlfriend, I admire them. I admire them tremendously because he never stepped on her toes and she never stepped on his toes, and they argued a lot. She didn't know if they were going to ever fucking be able to make it, because fundamentally now they're two different people, but they came together as people that loved each other, and they had to work really hard, and then coming to rearing children, and her supporting him during fasting season, and I mean just all of the cultural differences, and it's become a beautiful thing because she celebrates his religion and all the things that his religion celebrates itself. And he never says to her that she can't put up a tree and she can't go to church and they can't have Easter eggs in the front yard, but having known them since I was like 21, 22 years old, in my mind, I'm like, man, I couldn't fucking do it. And, I say that then, but today me, as I'm hearing you kind of tell this story, Yehukanan, it makes me feel like somebody who, and this is just the wildest first thought that comes to my mind, getting married to somebody and then they decide that they want to take on a same-sex lover later on down the line. You change the terms. When we got married, we were in a committed, monogamous, heterosexual relationship, and somewhere down the line, you wanted to take on another lover, maybe do poly, or maybe you wanted to take on a man or a woman. Like and that's not to say that we're not allowed to grow. That's not to say that we're not allowed to change our mind. That's not to say that we're not allowed to come into new information. We should be able to come into new information and change some of what we believe, considering what we've been taught as we age, right? But that, to me, religion is like that one piece in most households that if you believe, that's a tough one. That's tough. But you change the terms, and I can see that being challenging. Yeah. Because just because you believe doesn't mean she has to believe. And I come from a place where I don't have to believe what you believe just because you believe it. I can love you from a distance. And that's a frustrating place to be because you want this person. I love this person. You are my person. But you just switched it up on me a little bit. And I've just seen so many relationships where somebody changing religions was the end of them. My girlfriend and her husband are like the only ones I know who have made it through something so drastic as that.
Yeah.
So, Denice, let me ask you: Do you want to stay on this path, or you want to redirect?
I actually do want to stay on this path, which is, when did you realize that you were in a situation and this person had one of your deal breakers? Like, when did you realize that something was a deal breaker for you, or when did you realize you were actually with someone who they was breaking?
You asking me this question, or this is a question for the floor?
But this is for everybody, because you pretty
I'll
much
give you a quick one. This one is easy. One of my the girlfriend I was with, we was together for 4 years before when I was in my earlier 20s. At the time, I had no children, and she had 3 children. I love them boys, raise them like they my own. Still talk to them to this day. It's all love.
Wow.
But she had mentioned that she was thinking about getting her tubes tied, and I was like, I don't know how to say this nicely, but yeah, if you decide to do that, then we'll probably be finished.
Yeah,
I still want children. I had no kids at the time, and I still wanted kids of my own. So if you decide to go down that path, then our relationship that is at the time
deal breaker.
That would definitely have been a deal breaker for me.
Wow. Anybody else got any deal breaker stories?
I mean, obviously, y'all know me already. Cheating is my deal breaker, and that's it, and that's done. You want to step out, she can have you. He can have you. I don't care what the fuck it is. They can have you. Bye.
Nikki.
I think that was another part of my relationship was hard. Is there wasn't infidelity. We didn't cheat. We were together for 16 years and we didn't cheat. I thought about this. I was looking at a post today and said something about talking about baby daddies or some shit, and talking about something like, y'all baby daddies got y'all having to worry about the ugly chicks or some shit too. Just basically because dudes will just fuck everything, right? And I was like, that was one of the main reasons that we stayed together as long as we did, is because I never had to worry. I did never worry about him being unfaithful. I never had another woman threaten me. I never had to worry about a woman threatening me, or that just wasn't what we did. We were not, I'm not an unfaithful person. I'm very fucking loyal. So cheating was that's just not something that we did, it's something that he did. And so when we split up, everybody was like, he cheated. And I'm like, no, we didn't cheat. You did. I was like, fuck no. We don't, no, there's other reasons that things end because of just cheating. So to be with somebody who actually really doesn't, break most of your deal breakers, but you still have to leave them because there are some parts about them that make it not be a respectful, peaceful place. That's a tough place to leave. So in hindsight, I look at it today, right? I think of the deal breakers that I have acquired in my healing journey since this relationship, and then turned right the fuck back around and had to go play with fire a little bit more with somebody else and burn my ass up a little bit just to remind myself that if you don't do what you're supposed to do by you will suffer the consequences. Doesn't matter how loyal or how much you love somebody, you can't love them into wholeness. Ooh. And it took me some time to process that.
Lord.
I mean, it's what do they say? You repeat what you don't repair. Ooh. And so I had to play with that for a little while. I had to let myself get hold the fuck out emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, to put some things back together. Mm-hmm. But now it's unbreakable. It's for me, it's unbreakable. So, my deal breakers, I'm with Jules, infidelity. And then crazily enough, like, it's interesting because the things that rub me wrong as a woman, as a partner, as a human, I danced with somebody who was all of those things. And I don't know why it happened the way it happened. I don't know, one of the things that the divorce attorney said was that I don't think that we can learn the best parts about ourselves by just ourselves. Like we have to learn the best parts about ourselves by another person or in our experiences with another person. And oh boy, I learned a lot. A lot. And so what I lacked then, I don't lack today. But the deal breakers will always remain the same. And they're stronger today than what they were then. So my ability to have a 2-minute conversation and be like, I'll never talk to you again is so very, very typical. And not because a person is bad, it's just not the right person for me. And I'm not even going to waste that energy, mine or that person's. And so much of my past has been wasting my energy and somebody else's. Because of loyalty.
You got to find a gentle mirror. It is about we learning from each other. There is that we have ourselves mirrored back, and that's how we see ourselves and learn ourselves is through those partnerships, intimate partnerships, friendships, family relationships. All of the relationships in our lives are what teach us about ourselves. But boy, sometimes you have a jagged mirror that you're looking into with the wrong partner. It's not. You get all kind of cut up, and then you got to sew yourself back together. And then there's other mirrors that are soft and the edges are soft and you just kind of get shaped and molded into the best version of yourself. You're able to just blossom and the butterfly wings just kind of grow.
Yeah. Q, you were going to say something.
So with that question, were you referring to marriage, relationship, or just different dynamics of relationship, whether it's friendship, mother, like what when you talk about deal breaker?
What do you think? What's a deal breaker for you in any aspect? It could be jobs, it could be relationships, it could be what are your deal breakers?
I have no deal breakers. The only one if you try to kill me.
Really?
You've maintained that position for a long time too.
I don't have any. I don't have any deal breaker, and like I said, if you try to kill me or physically harm me, anything you do to me to where I don't feel secure laying my head down and going to sleep at night, then I can't be around you under that circumstance. But outside of that, I have no deal breakers. And what I say all the time, none at all. And what I can and do, whether it's friendship, relationships, or in a marriage, if I need to, I will compartmentalize.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
If
Okay.
if you, and first of all, so going back to if you're talking about a marriage partner or someone who I've come into a covenant relationship with, at this age, I would hope I would have done enough of my homework to know the essence of who you are before I decided to join into that relationship with you.
Yeah.
That part.
Now, so anything that comes up after that, I should feel comfortable knowing the core of who you are. So if there are some type of doubts or insecurities, or I find out that you lie sometimes or something like that, I'm gonna have to compartmentalize. Like, okay, well, we can have conversations. Maybe I don't have this conversation when I know, like, or maybe I'll just call them out on it or whatever it is. But it's like, how do I manage the health of this relationship? That's really the only thing that I look at, even in friendships, mentorships, all of that. I'm just like, this is an issue that they have that clashes with who I am. So how do we need to work this relationship in a way that it can still be productive?
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm gonna ask Justin and Yehuganon if they have any deal breakers, and then after that, I think I'm gonna pivot a little bit.
My deal breaker is just I can no longer be with anyone who isn't emotional, who doesn't who's just not emotional, who's not who like refuses to be intimate and like uses intimacy as a weapon. Yeah.
Withholding, I would imagine, more than anything.
Of course.
Right.
Of course, withholding, and even just like expressing, and not even just like physical intimacy, just like expressing.
Yeah.
Like, like, why would I want to be with somebody who doesn't tell me they love me? They love me, you don't tell me you love me, then why are we together? We should be able to say it a million times to each other. We should be able to show it, like, should be able to show it and say it. And I'm just not really here for that. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that's a solid deal breaker. Yehuganon, any deal breakers?
So what's happening? Yeah, I'll give you one deal breaker, spirituality. So we will have to be, and I guess in terms of relationship, you have to be on the same spiritual path in regards to building and growing together, because two different, in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure people have opposing opinions on this, but two different beliefs under the same roof, as far as coexisting, is going to be difficult or it cannot work. So have to have that spiritual continuity there for us to operate or work together. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be like other problems, but that's like the standard of the foundation in regards to branching off or growing from there in regards to deal breaker.
Yeah, that's fair. That's solid, because I mean, at the end of the day, like a lot of if you are a spiritual or religious person or whatever the case may be, that a lot of times is the foundation of a person's being.
Yep.
So if you cannot be aligned in that, then it probably is best to go your separate ways. Certain things, you just need to be aligned for that kind of thing. So I'm going to totally pivot. We're still talking about like, when did you know and when did you realize, but I'm going to slightly maybe get off relationship stuff. And I want to ask, when did you realize, or when did you know that you had an unpopular opinion?
I'll let somebody else talk.
Unpopular opinion. What are my unpopular opinions? Most of my opinions, I don't even think they're unpopular. I just think it's unfamiliar for people to verbalize.
Such as?
Half of the stuff I be talking about on here. Don't act like you ain't thought about it before. It's just some things I say just goes against what's not. So okay, well, easy for me. Like as someone who walks in Christian circles, my belief system is completely different. Like, you know, I'm not that you have to be a Christian to go to heaven and you have to, like, there's only one way. I'm not the only one way. I'm not the Bible is infallible person. There's a lot of opinions that I have. And on the flip side, let me say, so on that side, a lot of Christians like, but then the funny part is once I verbalize that, you'll get a lot of people who come trying to give me alternate information because they feel like, well, then you shouldn't be a Christian no more. No, I'm still a Christian in the areas that I know it works. And some people are like, how can you still continue to go to church or be a Christian? And you yourself said that, you know, this part of the book is fake. And I'm like, yeah, but I know what to set down that doesn't work or that's outdated or that was manipulation or propaganda. And I know how to hold on to things that have been beneficial for me throughout my life. So people on both sides get confused about that. That's a simple example, but I'll let somebody else jump in.
I've always been outspoken, so I think I've always kind of just either realized that other people thought differently, or I think I resonate with what you said, Q. Like, even if my belief is I'm the one in the room that's going to say it. I'm the one that's not going to keep when the thing needs to be said. I'm the one that my friends, my crew, my tribe comes to and says, Jules, look, such and such, this is happening. Somebody's got to talk to them. Talk to them. Okay, I'm the one. I'll go because I'm going to tell you the truth from a space of love, from a space of wanting what's best for whoever, and not out of malice and harm and hurt. And so I'm perfectly comfortable walking in that space. And when you walk in your truth, especially confident in your truth, that's a very unpopular thing to do. People are either intimidated quite frequently by it, or they're put off, or they're jealous, or they're uneasy because they can't do that thing. And so I think it's not so much an unpopular opinion. It's a just kind of the way that I am.
Yeah, unpopular way of being. Like, most people like hold their punches, and you're like, nah, it's the truth. I gotta say it.
Yeah, I gotta getting told I need to, I need to figure out how to control my face when the boss is going on with the control your words. Okay, control your tone. My words were fine. I was professional. Control your tone.
You need to smile.
Okay, I'll control my tone and be as sweet as I can. And then it's your face. It's like, well, shit, this is who I am. Accept it or fire me. I don't know.
Oh, Justin, I got a quick one for you, because you was talking about even in your previous relationship where, you know, she didn't believe in shacking up, because that's a real Christian thing. Like, no, don't be you don't move in together, you don't shack up. I wholeheartedly condone people living together before they get married. You need to try that thing out the way. See what it's really gonna be like before you just jump in and then you got to live with somebody. So that's an unpopular opinion from, you know, my circle, that I'm like, I don't care. Everybody else could say that you ain't supposed to do it. I'm like, you do it. Go ahead.
Also, I did add, like, at the time when we were dating, she was very heavily into church. She was teaching Sunday school and everything at the time. And then, like, after we got married, she stopped going to church, which was really crazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
After 3.5 years, it sounded like you married somebody and got the twin. Like,
yeah.
Was she a Gemini?
I'm the Gemini, actually. I'm the Gemini. I'm actually the Gemini. She's an Aquarius. Tomorrow's actually her birthday.
Wow.
Aquarius is also a water. Is also
air.
They're air. Their air sign, and it's they're just up. Yeah.
They say
Gemini's and Aquarius are both air signs. Yes.
Like, when I started, because I started therapy while, like, during that marriage. I'm still in therapy.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you for that.
So I always tell my therapist, like, the person who I dated and the person who I married were totally different people. You know, the day after we got married, that was a totally different person. I don't know who that woman is. I mean, we're friends now. We co-parent very well. Like, I speak to her every damn day. But that is not who I wanted to marry. I don't
She
know
said,
what
"I
happened.
do."
The woman I dated, I don't know what happened to her. I think she died.
You
But,
said, "I do." Now I got all this church stuff. Let's get all this church stuff out of the way.
yeah.
I know
But
somebody who
no,
went to Vegas to get married, and literally before the third day of the honeymoon, her husband became so abusive because now he owned her, and they had known each other for years.
Wow.
They had been dating for almost a year and a half, 2 years, but they had known each other for like 8 or 10 years, been friends before that. And in all of that time, she had never seen that side of him. He tried to say somebody must have drugged him or slipped him something as a funny ha-ha, and he was reacting. Doesn't matter. He put his hands on her, he beat the shit out of her. She filed for divorce before they even left Las Vegas to head back to New Orleans.
Wow.
Like, it happens. Some people
that was fast.
yeah, but I mean, some people literally that there's something about that piece of paper, that bond, that the whatever it is about why
You're
is it
mine.
so important?
I own you. It's that old bullshit ass mentality. I own you. You're mine.
Well, I say on the flip side, when me and my ex, when we divorced and split, then she became somebody who I didn't reckon. Like to this day, I don't even look at her as the same person that I was married to. I literally don't look at her. I don't even associate with that person who I talk to now.
Crazy.
Okay,
Like,
I have a question.
Such a drastic change. Go ahead.
Gotta dig deep on this one, y'all. When did you realize you were the problem? In a particular situation, you're like, I'm the problem here.
I think one of the places where I have found myself to get in the most trouble, where I've had to exercise the most discipline, is giving somebody time to respond. Giving somebody time to respond in the way that works for them, not what works for me. And it's crazy how, you know, as I've aged and I've practiced this, you know, I would say 95+% of the time, not necessarily what I wanted or how I wanted a person to respond to something, ended up being the way I wanted it to be. Not so much that, it's just, you know, like, let's say, you know, me and, you know, somebody there's an issue, right? And I haven't heard from the person all day. And instead of assuming that, you know, maybe they are, you know, put me on back burner, or, you know, no response is a response. You hear from them, say, the next morning or hours after you expected, you know, death word, right? Expected to hear from them. And their reasons are absolutely so valid. Car broke down, tire blew, work kept me late, something happens. Like, you know, it's so it's like if you would have just sat down and waited and gave them that opportunity, that time to come to you or to be responsive when it worked for them and not when it works for me, how much better it works out in the end. You know, my ex and I just had a conversation yesterday. I messaged him and let him know how I felt about something. And instead of just sweeping under the rug, I was like, look, I want to have clarity with you. I want to be at peace with you. Like, I want us to be able to communicate about how we feel in certain things so we can fix it and be good, right? And you know, instead of being worried about what the response was going to be, or worried that he was going to be mad, or worried that he was going to be, you know, pissed off or hothead, you know, hours later he called back, and I knew he was a little irritated with what I said, but he was very clear in his demeanor. He was very patient in his demeanor. He was very understanding in his demeanor, and it just made the issue that originally took place so resolvable in such an adult fucking way that I was like, now had I, you know, jumped the gun and got in my feelings and like all that old dumbass bullshit, right, that we do, right? Like, had I done those things, how I could have totally ruined that whole fucking moment, that whole process. And continuing to not make it be a safe space, maybe, to have difficult conversations. So just letting people have their space, letting people have their space to respond and to engage when it's time, when they say it's time, not when I say it's time. I think that's one for me, for sure.
Taking accountability. I like that.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody else had a moment where they're like, you know what? I'm the problem right now. Like, I am the problem.
I'll say that when I got divorced and I went to therapy, then I sat down and really started looking at like, what was how did I contribute to this? And I had to look at, I was only 21 when we got together. So I was still very, emotional, insecure, immature, all of those things. And I mean, by 25, I had my stuff together enough where I bought my first duplex. I was working jobs, but emotionally, I was still very overbearing, jealous, and very vocal. Like, it's my way or it's my house. It's my way or the highway. I don't give up, like, leave. I don't care, and there were a lot of things that I did with my high school boyfriend and my ex-husband in the beginning when I was so much younger that I think were very painful to them, that I can look back and I do look back with regret on some of the ways that I acted, lashed out, spoke to them without respect, because I was young and dumb and didn't know any better. So unfortunately, as my mom always says, the pendulum swings from one extreme to the other. So after I got divorced, what I did was go just the exact opposite and not uphold boundaries and not have boundaries and allow anything. And so I was the problem because I allowed things that I shouldn't have, because I was so afraid of making the same mistakes. I went and learned a whole new batch of mistakes to make.
How about that? Don't do this one or this one.
Yeah. So somewhere I'm hoping at some point the pendulum it has swung far from one end to the other, and hopefully I'll find balance at almost 50. I'll be 50 in July. So hopefully, I'll find balance soon. That would be lovely.
Yeah. I have been guilty of overcorrecting for sure. For sure. I have definitely done that and ended up in some situations like, wow, I'm just allowing anything, right? I was allowing nothing before. That did make me, unless someone has an answer for.
Did you read what Stephanie put up there?
Oh, yeah. So there was something Stephanie put before this that I wanted to read. Did y'all see that? Can y'all pull that back up?
Which one?
Yes, here it is.
Okay.
Well, so Stephanie said, when I realized, so the question was, when did you realize you were the problem? And Stephanie wrote, when I realized I was being the man in the relationship, the decision maker, always strong, always figuring it out. And then there's another quote from Stephanie. That's when I knew the relationship was going to implode and I was the problem. I don't think I gave him the room to be a man. And so that's another question I have on my list. And if you do have when did I realize I was the problem? But I did want to ask, when did you realize that gender roles do or do not work for you?
Oh, I've been a fan of gender roles from jump. I not having gender roles doesn't work for me. Gender roles is what I subscribe to. So this modern shit does not work for me. And I've come to so many realizations about who I am as a woman, who I am as a person, who Nikki is, what Nikki believes in, what Nikki stands on, that I am so okay today, really and truly being single, celibate, by myself, figuring this journey out, because I'm not going to do that again. I won't do that again. I've already done that. As I'm sitting here listening to all of us talk, the thing that keeps coming back to my mind, and this has been said so many times in these conversations over the years, is I just hate that we had to get to our 40s and pushing 50s to fucking get this. Like, who was the fuck to tell us this and never told us? Like, why the things that I put my children on today, and I had great parents, I mean, I'm a byproduct of my father. Like, so it wasn't like I wasn't talked to or taught or, I was shown obviously something different, right? But like, why the fuck did it take me till I was 35, 37, 40, 45 to figure this out?
You have to.
I don't think that I've ruined my life, because I don't have regrets. I will not allow myself to live in a space of regret. Everything that's ever happened, I stand by every decision I've made, because everything is a lesson, or it is, it's just a lesson period, right? But I hate that I know better today, and I could have done this fucking back then, and I could be in a different
Nikki,
place today, right?
let
But
me
I
jump
take
in,
that
Nikki.
and I apply that to my life for the rest of my life. Now I get to create. Now I get to design. Now I get to decide what I am and what I'm not going to do, what I will and what I won't do, how I am and how I'm not going to love. And I look forward to that. But back to the whole 30 and 40 and 50 being hurt, there's a lot of hurt people out there right now still trying to figure it out. So we have to be cautious.
Yep.
I wanted to make a point on something that you just said, Nikki, when you say like, why does it take me this long before I get it, or how come we couldn't have got it earlier? Because one of the best teachers is time. And it's not even time from the level
And
of
experience.
No, I'm not even going there with it, with the whole experience type of thing. That's a given. But the other part is the countdown of time. Like when you start hitting certain ages, you realize I don't have the time to keep being stupid and keep bumping my head against the wall anymore. If we live 500 years, we'd probably still be doing a lot of dumb stuff because we got time to keep doing dumb stuff.
Right.
But when you realize, like, I'm on the clock, what I keep telling
Straight
people, I'm in the third quarter right now of my life. If life is a 4-quarter game, it's about 8 minutes left in the third quarter. What are you going to do if you're going to
And you still behind by 20?
So you gotta a lot. So, thank you. And we down by 20. And you ever know, like, if you being down ain't the problem, but you being down with this much time left. So what are we gonna do? We got to do something.
It's crunch time. What's adjustments you gonna make? Yeah, I feel you. Go ahead.
Adjustments that we've been making is because where we are in this game of life and how far we are into this game, it forces you to. Otherwise, if it wasn't, we wouldn't feel the press to make these quick changes or to make these like more decisive changes that we wouldn't do earlier in our life.
Facts.
I agree with you 100%. I just want to say real quick, I agree with you 100%. I do. And for that, I don't regret, I don't regret my life, but I have a 27-year-old daughter. And I look at what I have tried to instill into her based on my life experiences. And I look at how she lives her life today. And I'm like, I am so fucking impressed that you get this at 27. You don't have to go through some of the suffering that some of us have gone through because we just didn't know, or we didn't talk about it the way we do today, or we don't normalize emotions and feelings and shit the way we do today. Like, I don't know. I mean, and it ain't like I'm that much older than her, but we're talking about an 18-year difference. And, she made a comment the other day about a relationship that she was ending, and she goes, I'm not doing this. And I was like, go ahead, girl. 28, 27. I don't know if I said I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a different space. So yes, 100% I do agree with you, Q, but I feel as though those experiences, at least for myself and how I've tried to use those and be lessons to my children, I hope that I've paved or have laid a foundation in which they actually know they really can make different, more self-respecting decisions for themselves. And maybe their path will be the way that they want it to, instead of turning 37 and 45 and 46 and having to figure this shit out all over again. So yeah, I agree with you. I do.
It's both. It's definitely the clock is ticking, and it's also like, look at all the healing you've been doing, like you said, for the past 7 years.
Yeah.
So it's one thing for someone to tell you something, and it's another thing for you to watch your mother heal,
right,
and watch her take certain steps. You know what I mean? So you even doing that is healing generationally, because now she don't got to go through this shit. But just the fact that you're loving yourself put her in the position to love herself so much more at 28 years old. And so it's like, it sucks, but it's a different type of lesson when you see your mom walking in.
Yeah.
real self-love. And I wanted to say something to about what Stephanie was saying, and then I want to give Stephanie the floor since you hopped in.
I never hop in the live ever.
Welcome, it's your first.
This one is important. This one's important to me. This one is important to me.
We're excited. And so on the topic of gender roles, since I've gotten older, I have realized that I do not want to do any man things
Baby.
at all. I don't want the responsibility.
Yes.
I'm tired, actually. What do you want me to do? Because I'm ready to listen.
Seriously.
I don't want to listen.
Tell me, Daddy. Tell me, Daddy. What do you want me to do?
I am ready to listen. Goddamn, I'm ready.
I will greet you at the door with a Hennessy and a
Y'all telling on yourselves.
Please. Damn.
Y'all telling on yourselves.
Keep that modern shit. We don't want it. We don't want it.
Hey, yo, I'm gonna share something with y'all real quick, right? Okay. I'm gonna be a little transparent real quick. And I'm talking on what y'all referencing to. So my garbage disposal was stopped up for like a good 4 or 5 days. And I tried everything, the plunger, tried to, just to unclog it in the kitchen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I told my wife I'm going to get to it eventually. So, we wasn't trying to really hire a plumber. So I was like, all right, so this is a little bit more complicated than I thought. So what I did was I was like, all right, I gotta once I had the time to get to it, I got down there, took apart the pipes, sat it in some vinegar and whatnot. And it was clogged. It was backed up with all kinds of stuff that I had to unclog it. But the point is that with me being in the house and present at that time, we saved money. If I wasn't there, she would have called the plumber and, would have spent that cheese. But the point is that I did did that man stuff right there that she didn't necessarily have the knowledge to do. And I was able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Able to get it done with no problem.
Mm-hmm.
And fixed it.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it in house.
I'll be the first one on the top of a mountain hollering. I love men, baby. I do. I love what men do. I love what men stand for.
I replaced my own, and I cried the whole time because I didn't want to do it.
Yeah,
I felt terrible doing it. I missed my dad. I missed my husband, who couldn't have done it anyway, but at least he would have tried. I mean,
people made some empty promises to you for a few months.
Hey,
like,
I'll get it done. It's still in the box. I'll get it done. It's right there in the box. So I'll get it done.
I'll get to it.
This one is tough for me, y'all. This topic is hard. I just went through this with a girlfriend of mine because her husband left her, and he's gonna come back, but he needs a minute from her because she was a single mom for so long that she became mom and dad, and so she makes the decision about the homeowner's insurance. She makes the decision about the car insurance. All of the bills are in her name. That's, the light bill, all of it.
Nobody wants on that responsibility. Shit.
Well, and he told her, let me take some of that. And the pushback was, well, you're going to have to pay a deposit if you put it in your name anyway. So just leave it in mine. But she started to realize she's taking that. He needs something. She's taking that power away from him. What's hard for me and what makes me emotional about this is I know I am too strong to have a man right now. I've got to check myself. I got to figure some things out. But how do I check myself and be unstrong while I'm raising 3 young Black men? I don't know how to do that. I'm not Black and I'm not a man. How do I unstrong? How do you, because the house still has to keep running. And so what I find myself doing is sitting my sons down. They're 19, 18, and 13. And I tell them, do not marry a woman like me because she's going to.
Ooh, that's tough.
It's very tough because I keep telling them, number one, it's going to be hard to find her. Number two, she's going to be broken as fuck when you do. because she's going to have to be strong. Please don't marry a broken woman. A broken woman is going to let all of the bad seep into those cracks. Marry somebody who's strong. I grew up with both my parents married for 42 years. My dad was the breadwinner. My mom didn't work a single day, but you know what he did? He told me, you are going to be the first woman in our family. I was the firstborn, first granddaughter, first grandchild. You're going to be the first woman in our family to get your degree. You're going to be the first woman in our family to have a job and live in a city that you didn't grow up in, the town that, you know, you're not staying on the farm, right? Please don't be like your mother and have a man giving you allowance. That's what he told me on my 18th birthday. I do not want you marrying a man who's going to give you an allowance. I want you to be able to provide for yourself, Stephanie. And I took that to the extreme, I think.
Yeah.
I took that to the extreme. And growing up on the farm, I fixed everything myself anyway. My dad taught me. I was his only son. So everything he did, everywhere he went, I was right behind him. And so I thought that was great. You know, the men I was dating was like, she's carrying a 50-pound bag of corn over her shoulder to go to the deer lease. Okay. That's not crazy. I should have outgrown that by now.
Let me tell you something.
I'm a month from 50, Q. I'm a month from 50, and I'm still trying to figure out how to be unstrong, and it's hard.
I'm gonna tell you what you're probably going to, the type of person you will probably need to find, because it's a couple things. Yes, it will be very hard if you're strong, especially when you have children. Even a strong man is not going to overstep you concerning your children as well. So it's different boundaries involved. Oh, yeah. Number two, a strong man is, even a good strong man doesn't want to overpower any. Like, I'm a strong man, but I don't make my woman do anything. You're going to do it because you're willing to do it. And if in the moment that you don't respect my voice as the man of the house voice, then we will have some real problems, because I will not make you do anything. So that's going to be tough. So what I'll say to you is, and this is this reminds me of even to some degree my sister's husband, and they have such if there's a poster of the best relationship I've probably seen, is them. They're so beautifully cute with their little selves, but because she's small and he's a little bit bigger than her. But what I respect about, he is a strong man that has no desire to overpower as well. So you'll probably have to find you someone who's strong within themselves.
Yeah.
They're not gonna look to overpower you, but you're not gonna overpower them either. And they will set that boundary when you try to step too far into telling them what to do. That's probably the best dynamic, because you don't want to. I'm pretty certain if the guy is soft and a pushover, then you're not gonna respect him, man. That's gonna be a whole other thing.
So unattractive. No,
but someone who's just secure within themselves, like
that part.
I know who you are. I respect you for who you are, and I love you for who you are. I'm not gonna try to change you, but you're not gonna change me.
But I kind of need.
We're going to coexist
every now and then too. Like,
you say what?
Put me in my place, sir. Like I need, because
don't look for that.
Nikki knows this. I just got
she know what she wants.
Well, I got out of a 6-year relationship, and Nikki, you know, I've talked to Nikki about this a little bit. A 6-year relationship shouldn't have gone 6 years, because if we were going to commit, we were going to commit. I know that. I'm old enough to know that. But what he told me was, you made it way too easy for me. I need to figure out how to go out there and live out there, because this is too safe. This is easy. And at first I thought that was BS. And then I thought, well, he has another woman. None of that's true. I know his address. I know where he lives. I know where he works. He hadn't hidden anything from me. He just doesn't want to be in a relationship with someone who literally provides it all, including double his salary.
Sure. Of course.
I mean, it's just not attractive for him. It's not attractive for him.
Can I add
what I'm saying is don't look for that in a man, because without, you may not be doing this on purpose, but in a way you're putting the onus on him.
Yeah, I hear you.
could check you in ways that you need to learn to check yourself.
Yeah, I know it. You are
So
so
whenever
right.
you start doing something and feeling a certain type of way, then if you don't watch yourself, it's like, see, I told you not to let me do it. No, it's not them, it's you. You got to check yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
And so I say that's for the purpose of framing your mind so that you don't lean on somebody else to help correct the issues that you need to work on.
And in the past, I would have covered up all this hurt with sex. Like anybody, I don't care. Every week. Right. Abstinent for going on 18 months. And I'm so glad my head is so clear. I am not mistaking sex for love. I am not wondering if he's going to text me. I am not wondering if I can show my ass to the next person because it's fun and I've had 4 glasses of Hennessy. I mean, I'm literally clear-headed. I realize that there are things I've got to fix. And this is the first time, and I wish it hadn't taken me this long, but for women, it's very easy to just find random sex to cover up what you're hurting about. I mean, that's easy.
Stephanie, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You said you're trying to figure out how to be unstrong. And I don't feel like it's necessarily that, but I am curious how you view vulnerability and what your relationship is with vulnerability. And yeah, how do you view vulnerability? And thirdly, the third question I want to ask, and I'm asking a few questions, is do you allow anybody to do anything for you? Not just in romantic relationships, but in life.
Yeah. You know, that's the thing. I'll ask for help from my girlfriends in a heartbeat. I will not ask for help from my man, and I don't know why. But I've got to work
said learn how to do it yourself.
Yeah,
I know why. I can tell you why.
Because your daddy said it.
Yeah. I mean,
there's an energy in security. Somebody said security, and it's Q. He said he's a very secure man. There is an energy in security. I have learned the greatest challenges that myself and my ex faced were directly related to the fact that there was something in him that was very insecure. He wasn't insecure about his manhood. He wasn't insecure about his strength. He wasn't insecure about the fact that he could pick this fucking house up with 2 hands if I wanted him to. There was so many things he wasn't insecure about, but emotionally, there was some insecurities in there. And I am a strong woman, and I am a powerful woman, and I'm also a very kind woman too. And I will sit and I will listen. I will fucking listen. A lot of people think I don't listen, but I will listen. So I don't think that I have a tendency to overpower my man. But if a man is not secure, there is an energy that he puts out there that we cannot be vulnerable if he is not secure. We just can't. It's not a safe place for me to give you this power, this control, this leash, so to speak, if you can't lead, if you can't lead. That's just it.
You know what? Let me say,
so I guess
you just reminded me of something real quick.
Hold
on. Yeah, okay.
So I guess you're going to that hour and a half.
What do you think at one time? Look, one at a time. Let's go down the road. Who said what?
No, Yahuka not throwing a shot because I let it go a little longer and I didn't last week. I don't do it 2 weeks in a row, Yahuka.
I knew this one. I knew we were gonna have a 2-hour night tonight.
I thought
Yeah.
You in the restroom.
Elevator.
Toilet.
Not a restroom, elevator.
Okay. No, you wouldn't have no signal if you was in the elevator. You in the toilet. But anyway,
I was in the elevator. I ain't got a reason to lie.
I'm messing with you. So, what I was gonna say, Nikki, when you talked about insecurity, it makes me think like it's on the opposite pendulum, like it swings the opposite way in relationship to narcissism. Both of them redirects everything back to them. Narcissist always makes everything about them, and then also insecure people will make things about them. So if you're trying to voice your opinions or your frustration about something, then an insecure person will take it and in turn, well, what's wrong with me? Like, why are you like? It's not about you. Maybe they're just trying to get something out. So when you make everything about you or something that you're not doing or something that you are insufficient in, that can drive people crazy too. It's like everything is not about you. I just had a long day at work. That's all. If I'm a little bit quiet, don't make that about you. You can't make everything about you. So
That's a good
it's
point.
funny. It's not even that they're the same thing, but oftentimes they can have the same effect because you don't allow a person to just be themselves and breathe. Now they have to be conscious of you internalizing every thought, opinion, and emotion that they have. And that's why I said, like, narcissists, people with like, it's you see similar effects on the same side. That was my only thought. Go ahead.
That's a good point. I mean, going back to Denice, what you were saying was, I think vulnerability, number one, vulnerability comes across as sexy. It's sexy to me. Vulnerability is the most open soul offering you can give to somebody. And so vulnerability and feminine energy to me go together.
For sure.
I struggle so much with feminine energy. Again, let's talk about the pigs and the cows and the chickens and walking in the mud with no shoes on, right? It was cute. And it was what we did. We did it all the way until I graduated high school. Like, we didn't care about shoes. We cared about whose truck we were going to go mudding in. And so moving to Austin was very much like, whoa, I need to buy some earrings, and I've got to, I need to do something about this hair, and I've got to, and I started to change myself. And then I started realizing, okay, wait, this is actually who I am. I want to be a part of the music scene. I want to be a part of the fashion scene and the music. And the first relationship of color in my family, because I branched out. And I grew up with, there was 50% Black people where I grew up. It wasn't like a few. There was a really good mix of people, but we just didn't do that. I don't know how to explain it other than that. But, you've got 2 stoplights in your town. You're careful about who you date, period, no matter what the color is. But when I got here, I saw really female women. And I was like, how do I do that? How do you smell like that? And men were falling all over these women that were soft and not like me, where I was rough and tumble. And so being vulnerable wasn't something that I grew up with. There was no vulnerability. There was either need filled, and then you go on with your duties, right? And so vulnerability, it either didn't play out in front of me, or what do you have to be vulnerable about? I'm giving you an allowance every week. I'm bringing home the food. I'm bringing home the groceries. You're cooking them. Why do you feel vulnerable? I'm providing for you. That was the kind of the dynamic with my parents. And I don't even think it was intentional, because my dad was a man among men. That guy, he was something. Loved my mom like no other. There was never just simple gift giving. He would do a scavenger hunt for Christmas gifts. There's a fur in the closet. There's a diamond in the drawer. Like, he showered my mother. So then I started looking for that too. And that's rare. That's rare. And so to circle back, vulnerability, it's very easy for me to be vulnerable, because I will tell you how I'm feeling in a heartbeat. I will open my soul up to you. I will let you know what hurts. If I love you, I'm going to say it 1,000 times a day. I'm going to tell you how loved you are. I'm going to tell you how much I appreciate you being in my life. And I'm so glad that our souls are on this planet at the same time. But I can't seem to find a place where I'm outside teaching my son to check the oil level in his car, and then come in and put on my pink robe and curl up and be soft, be vulnerable, and say, Stephanie, you know how to check the oil level in his car, but what if you don't do that, and just let your man do that?
And do you have problems asking?
I do. I do. I have problems asking. Because it goes back to the vulnerability. Because to me, I have to find that balance between weakness and vulnerability. And I wonder if a lot of women who have been single a long time, or single mom, it's not just single moms, single women in general who have provided for themselves. I wonder if a lot of single women don't realize that calling your man and saying, I don't really want to check the oil in my car, or
we just got
calling your
used
man.
to doing it.
Yeah, I mean,
Can I say this though? You mentioned weakness and vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have been on a vulnerability journey since like 2017.
yeah.
And it was the hardest thing. Like my mom was in the military. I had 2 brothers. Like, so I was kind of raised like a boy. So
Yeah.
I was very much like just rough around the edges. Like I'm doing everything on my own. Like, you know, that whole thing. And I realized what made the vulnerability journey begin to get easier for me is when I realized that being vulnerable actually takes a lot of strength.
Ooh,
Damn.
it's really courageous to be vulnerable.
Woo.
Very.
It's so easy to not fucking be vulnerable, but
Yes.
it takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable.
Because vulnerable gets you hurt. That's how we're conditioned.
And
Vulnerable
who wants that?
Lack of boundaries gets you
hurt. Yeah. Yeah.
Vulnerability doesn't get you hurt.
Well, tell me about what do you mean vulnerability journey? Tell me what you
So
mean?
what I just told myself I was going to start like I had a very hard time just expressing myself and just being able to say, hey, like I feel this way.
Mhm.
Because I was like, oh, that's weak. I ain't saying that. I don't care. I'm acting like I don't care. I'm acting like I'm not tripping. I'm acting like I don't like him that much.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not tripping off you like that. If we talk, cool. If we don't talk, cool. The whole time I'm like, I don't even know what's going on. Like, you know, behind the scenes, you know. Now I'm at a place where I'm just straight up. Like, I'm just like, hey, this is how I feel. This is what's going on with me. Like, I feel insecure today.
Yeah.
Like do you think I'm pretty today? I don't know. You haven't told me that in a long time.
Yeah.
Like very like vulnerable things that like 10 years ago I would have thrown up just thinking about saying.
Yeah.
You know, much less actually saying it. And it's something so empowering I've noticed when I just straight up said how I was feeling that made it much easier for me to walk away when it was time.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we're pushed into this feminist trap. And I'm pro girl, like I'm pro girl, but we are pushed into a feminist trap these days where it's like, what do you mean, girl? You've got a credit card, you got your own car, you got big boobs, you smell good. You don't need him. You don't need any man. You got your girls, and none of that is true. We need fucking men. We need men. We need men.
We definitely need
thought
men.
I'd ever say that.
Yeah,
I hope this show get 10,000 views. Cause y'all dropping some gems right now for the younger generation.
This is a good point. And now that we're here, I did this on a live before, but I would love to hear the men talk about the qualities of femininity that make them feel safe.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh, wait.
Stephanie, I do want to add something because you said that you have a difficult time asking people and accepting other people, specifically your man, right?
When I had one, yeah.
Yeah, when you. But about a decade, maybe a little bit more than that ago, a very dear friend of mine's mom was trying to do something for him. And he was like, no, mom, no, I'm good. I'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. And, he's in his 40s or late 30s, almost 40. And no, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. And she told him, son, please do not block my blessing by not allowing me to do for you. And as women who take care of ourselves, who tend to give and take care of and nurture everyone around us, it's very difficult to say, hey, I need that in return.
Yeah.
But when we do have someone who's willing to do those things, or when we can try and reframe it and allow them the opportunity to gain that blessing by doing for us, it can make a huge difference. It's something I've been working on, something I've been trying to work on.
My oldest son fought it. My oldest son fought it and fought it and fought it. And now he calls it mom magic. When there's something that he cannot work through or figure out, he'll literally say, and he used to be embarrassed, and he'd say, I need some mom magic. But now he just says it outright, like, Mom, I need some mom magic. I don't know how, I cannot figure this out. Or this person, the world is mean. This person is mean. What do I do? How do I get out of this contract? How do I, So I think I have raised them to respect the fact that I don't bring in the trash cans. My boys bring in the trash cans. I'm not going to touch the damn trash cans. That's a man thing.
That's right.
But I would be burned at the stake saying that in front of certain groups of people. I don't want to take the trash out. I don't want to bring the trash back in either.
I think it's a lot of programming.
Yeah, we take care of that.
Definite programming.
You won't ever hear me again like I did in the 90s, stand around and sing INDEPE. I am never singing that song again. No decades. No.
Smash that record. Get that shit out of here. I'm done.
You just throw it in the trash. Throw the whole song away.
I'm trying to listen. I'm with Denice. I'm trying to listen. Tell me what to do.
But
tell me what to do.
We're all standing out there like, I got my own shit. And that's not cute. That's not cute.
Yeah.
He said, I'm not rocking with that song. I'll throw that in the trash.
I ain't singing that ever.
So to my men, I think this is a good opportunity to speak to our women about what makes you feel safe. What about femininity? What about what qualities of a woman make you feel safe as a man, makes you want to commit to a woman, makes you want to take care of a woman?
Real quick and real easy.
Okay, go ahead, Q.
I just had a couple of them. Dang, you made me almost forget. But one is just support.
What does that look like?
Yes, sir.
Whenever you're going through what you're going, see, it's like one of those things to where don't try to be me, and in every situation you can't act like you know what I'm dealing with or what I'm going through. Same thing applies with me and with a woman. I can't sit there and tell you if you're going through some type of woman issue, well, all you need, why don't you just do? No, it's not for me to say what you should just do as a woman. But what I can do is support you. What do you need from me? Okay, well, hey, I know you got this. I know, whatever you decide, you're going to come up with the best decision. Let me know how I can assist you. But, just let me know. I got your back. I always got your back, 100 down. Those things right there, support, words of affirmation, and you doing, I'm not trying to overpower you. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm letting you know that I am here to support, stand by your side, and be a ride or die as much or as little as you want me to be. Sometimes it's good where men and women, there's certain things we got to try to figure it out. But I know if I get to a place where I'm just stuck, then okay, I know this person got my back and we're gonna roll with it. But those things that means so much when you talking about relationships. Don't try to get in front of me. Don't fall back or let you do it. Just walk beside me and let me walk beside you.
On the outside, on the outside of me. When men let women walk next to the street, it makes me so mad. Lord.
Yeah, you know what? And my girl is big on that too.
Don't do that.
And that's something that I didn't even think of. But after she said that, no, then I'm always the one that's walking closest to the street. That's okay, whatever. Yeah. Small things. But that's all I was just thinking of. What was you gonna say, sir?
Oh, before you goes, I wanted to kind of double down on what Q said about. I notice as a woman sometimes if I'm talking to my man, if something's going on in his life, I'm like the fixer. I think I'm Olivia Pope and I need to come in and I need to fix. And babe, you just need to do this and you just need to do that. And then and it sounds like what you're saying is don't do that. Just say, asking the very question of, what do you need from me? How can I be of service? It's much different than coming in and trying to fix and be your mom. Because I think it gives mom whenever we try to come in and fix things. Yeah. But Yehukanan, can you go ahead and where were you going to go say?
I wasn't going to say anything. Well, I was going to add to what Q was saying because that support goes a long way in regards to, I guess, affirming or confirming like the decisions that we make or the things that we do, as far as like standing behind us, knowing that you're going to be there when we come home, or even though you may not agree with the decision that is being made, even though we talk it out, and the decision is supported, that that you're there through that up and down, through that thick and thin, that ride or die type of mentality, because it motivates us, and it gives us that motivation to do more, or to please our woman in a way that we appreciate that support that you give. We appreciate it. Words of affirmation is another thing. Like it may be small to y'all, but it's to women, excuse me, but it's big to us, because that give us that's like taking that's like taking Popeye eating that spinach, and it gives them that extra strength. You know what I'm saying? It gives them that extra strength. Like I'll go and move a freaking boulder, because you just like what I'm like, basically what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Huh?
Because you
basically, yeah. Basically, what I'm doing, you recognize it, you acknowledge it, you see it, and you tell me that, and it's like what I'm doing is right. I'm not smoking weed and playing PlayStation or Xbox all day. I'm out there doing some man stuff. I'm taking care of my family. I'm working 12, 14 hours a day to make sure the roof is over the head and all of that. Those words of affirmation can go a long way. And it propels us in a stratosphere that we would do anything for a woman. And the best part about it, because I did this recently, is doing something for your woman without her even asking you. Like, for example, my wife was like, man, I want something sweet. I want some cookies. I went to the store, bought her some cookies. She didn't even ask me for it. It's like those type of intangibles, as far as us recognizing, like, okay, you need this, baby. You want a massage? You need me to rub your feet? I know you've been on your feet all day. You need me to help you with this? What do you need? So that stuff, those small things, it really makes us feel safe and secure, more like a man, that our woman is there. She acknowledged what we do, and we can come home to that safe haven. And the vulnerability thing also as well, as far as not to say that us men is soft or whatever, but allowing us to be vulnerable in front of our women, that speaks volumes. Trust me on this one. Being vulnerable in front of your woman and her acknowledging, recognizing that, and returning that vulnerability speaks volumes. I'll yield with that.
Oh, that was good, Yehukanai. It was such a beautiful analogy, the spinach and Popeyes, like the words of affirmation being akin to spinach and Popeyes. I have never heard a man say that before. And I don't think until now I truly, truly understood how important it is for a man to be affirmed by his woman. So thank you so much for sharing that, because that was really, really good. I do want to ask, before I get to Justin, what makes you feel like you can be vulnerable with your woman? What kind of space is being created where you feel like you can be vulnerable?
Oh, you want to go there? Hold on.
This just got to be a safe space.
Hold on a second.
You got it. Q. No, go ahead. You got it.
Go ahead. I was gonna say, Justin, you can go ahead and answer that question first.
Oh yeah. So I was actually gonna touch on this note. Like, a woman that creates a safe space, that, like, if I'm being vulnerable with her, if I'm venting about my day, she's not going to bring that shit up later on in like some random ass argument.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's betrayal. That's
straight up. Good word. Good word. It is fucking betrayal. Straight up.
Yeah, they'll bring it up.
The last time I tell you anything, watch.
Yeah. Because now I'm closed off to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, some qualities that make me feel safe. Yeah, like a woman that creates a safe space where I can say whatever. Like, when I come home from work or I come home from wherever, if I'm stressing, I can talk to her. Because at the end of the day, like, sure, like, you know, with your romantic partners, like, you know, the whole romantic side, but like they're also supposed to be your best friend. And if you're lacking on that best friend side, then I'm just fucking you at that point. You're like, you know, we just fucking. Like, you know, so it's like, you know, you have to have that side of being a partner. And I believe that sometimes is like overlooked, you know, because like going back to my marriage, like I had female friends that I spoke to all the time because I couldn't talk to my wife. And like she was just the person who I had a baby with at that point. Like we just had papers, and yeah, just like I said, creating that safe space. And like sometimes, like, you know, when we go out into the world is cruel sometimes. Sometimes I want to come home, just be my peace. Like let's just fucking chill. Sometimes let's not even talk. Let's just sit here, be quiet, and just sit here together, just being fucking quiet. Just being peaceful. Let's eat dinner. Just, you know, whatever. I'll hold you. We'll watch a movie, whatever, read a book or something together. Something, you know, just being peaceful instead of maybe like, you know, you walk in the door and it's like, this is the issue, this is the issue, this is the issue. Like, what the fuck, yo? I just came from outside. Like that was already a big enough fucking issue. So it's like, you know, the home is supposed to be a safe space. This is my peace. Like, you know, like when I come home, I don't even like wearing clothes in my house. Like I'm wearing clothes because I'm on this fucking live with you guys.
No, we see you got your boo. You see you got your tits out tonight.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm always wearing a robe or something.
He got his man robe on with his titties hanging out.
I always got a robe on. And yeah, just like, yeah.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
I have a question for the 3 men about that. Do you mind, Denice? Can I ask real quick?
Yes, please.
So can you be vulnerable and feel strong if the woman is the top earner in the home? Does it eat away at you quietly? Does it diminish how you feel about yourself? Does this go back to the feeling of self-secure? How does that come into play at some point where you're like, yeah, she's making double what I make, and I can't be vulnerable because that's just an added layer, or does it not affect you at all?
Wait,
so
hold on.
Me,
can I jump in real quick? Because I'm just gonna be brief.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I've just never dealt with that personally. I've never experienced that. Like with the woman being the top earner. So I fully can't speak on how I would react to it, but I think I would be okay with that.
So let me say I haven't dealt with that either, but I don't think I'd be okay with that. I think there's been times
there's a reason I'm asking, but yeah, keep going.
There's times when like either my wife would get close to what I earn. I'm like, oh shoot, I got to grind, I got to do. I'd come up with like 2 more hustles. Like that's a thing with me.
Yeah.
And I don't care if we make about the same amount, then I need to make an extra $20 at the end of my W2.
I'm still making more, goddammit.
Buy that scratch off ticket.
Right.
If you ask me for logic or reason behind that, I ain't got none for you.
I was gonna ask,
one of
but
my things. It ain't no rhyme or reason to it.
Can I ask you, if you, let's say you made slightly less than your wife,
second job, second hustle,
would it be okay for you if you paid the majority of the bill still?
Ooh, that's where I was going. I had a conversation like this, so yeah.
Yeah, that'd be okay. But you know, it would, you know, regardless, I don't care. You can, you know, get a record deal and start making millions. We still gonna rock regardless. But I'll be like, okay, so now what you making now? You bringing in $2 million a year? All right, Q, you need to come up with, figure out how to get 2.2. That's just my mindset. But it's not even I'm not going to be in competition. I will support you. I'll do everything that I can, but that's just something to where I'm always going to aspire to make sure. And it's not just me making more, but if something ever broke down or something where you lost your job or you stopped making money, am I in position to keep us going? Even if things, so, because at the end of the day, I still got to, it's my job to be the provider. Even if we both putting in, even if you making more than me, that's still my responsibility. So if some break down and you up and decide you quit all of us, it's still my responsibility to take care of it. So that's just my mental, the way I view things.
I love that question because I went on 3 whole dates with the same person. Nothing physical, but the very last date came down to this conversation, and it was, what is your income range? He asked me that, which I'm fine with because I'm not going to give you the exact amount, but this is the range. And it was literally nearly double what he made. And he works for a large tech giant and has been with them for 9 years. And I don't know why he's allowing that pay, but anyway. And he told me, if you and I were to end up together, I would choose the home and I would choose the price point of the home. I don't care what you can afford. It's going to be based on my income.
Respectable. I respect
and I
that.
went,
Right.
I sat there for a minute and I was like, but what if I want the pool, but you can't afford the pool? And that's when I started going, yeah, okay, Stephanie. So how would you react to that? And it came down to me going, yeah, I don't think I could do that. I think I would need more input into where we live and the type of house we live in. And there's certain
our home is still our home.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But see, that right there, that's the perfect example. That's why I need to be making a little bit because I'm not. So some people in today's society, they feel like, hey, it's equal. Everybody has equal say so. I keep saying I there's 51%. I got the majority rule. You might have 49, but I got 51. And to make sure I have that 51, I have to make sure I'm in position to say the things that I say. And like you said, it can become harder or become difficult if your income prefers a different lifestyle than what I'm able to provide.
Right.
So I mean, and that's fair for you to be like, no, I don't think that. And you're right. That's probably might not be the thing.
But I never cared before. The person that I did marry and was in love with made I'm talking way less. But he loved.
Well, yeah, even if you don't care, you have to think about certain things to where if this is going to be a sensitive spot for them, then it can still ultimately cause friction in our relationship.
Yeah. And I'm glad that was the first time I've ever had an adult conversation leading into dating with someone like that. I was like, well, this was eye-opening, and I couldn't be mad at him because I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't think we match up on that part.
All right, Denice, let's give for 2:15. We're gonna close. We at 2:06 right now. 2:15. We're gonna.
Boy, y'all sure did skip over me with that question.
Yeah, he didn't. He didn't about women. What makes women.
I don't think who is the breadwinner determines the dynamic of the relationship. And that seems to be the norm nowadays, especially if the two are understanding their roles in the relationship. Because, finances or who is the breadwinner is one of like the deal breaking factors of why couples split up amongst other things. However, and I can't speak for other men, but I'm okay with it if she was able, because if she's progressing in whatever career that she's in, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm not going to tell her to quit a job or whatnot, or whatever the case may be. And if I'm making a little less, the only way I would have a problem with that is if she used that as a weapon against me or as a crutch, like, we get into an argument or whatever the case may be. And she'd be like, I make more than you. As that's like, that's to me, that's like challenging a man's authority in his own house.
Right.
Even though you're the breadwinner and whatnot, don't push that in my face, because that's gonna piss me off. Don't do that. Just because you make more than me don't mean you gotta.
This is not the right thing to do.
I agree.
You do that.
But the other part to that is I would also feel like I necessarily don't have the right to have final say so when you're making the majority of the money.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
That's what
Mm-mm.
essentially.
You know what? No,
Not if you say you want a man in the house. Nope. Mm-mm.
No, I disagree with it too, but in actuality, I feel funny telling someone what we're going to do with our money when she's making the majority of the money. I just
Keyword, our money. Our. Not hers or yours. Our. Keyword there.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm telling you, I'd feel uncomfortable. That's the reason why I hustle.
So don't pull that role that you above me now just because you make more. That the buck will stop there with me. Don't do that. You challenging my manhood. Don't do that. That'll get you put out the house.
That in itself,
that'll get you put out the house. Don't do that.
Go ahead. You keep going. Go ahead.
No, you ain't finna put me out my goddamn house.
You gonna put me out my own house?
When you say that, you saying that those are fighting words. Don't do that.
I like that. Trust me.
She like, all right, I got my lawyer on retainer already. Excuse me. Yeah, I knew it was gonna happen. Yes.
Oh no.
She already got everything in her name.
No, I would just say that it will be some problems. There will be problems. Just don't do that. Don't use that as a crutch or weapon just because you make more. The relationship won't be good at a certain point.
Yeah, no, that's definitely
just don't do it.
That's not.
Just don't do it. Just don't do it.
I think the main issue that I'm seeing with, a woman potentially making more than a man in a relationship and how that can potentially become an issue is the fact that at a certain point, someone's career has to take precedence, especially if there's like kids involved. And, if the woman is making
Good
more
point.
And maybe she gets a promotion, maybe they want to move her somewhere else, like, the gender roles may shift a little bit because maybe she may be working later, or maybe she may be the only one working once you all move to a different state or a different city, and the man may have to take on some of the more maternal type of roles. So I think, it could become an issue if a man is not okay with that. But I've seen a situation where the man was okay with it. But I can understand how a man could not maybe feel a little funny about that. Oh, that's a deal breaker for you, Edward? Okay.
Well, I think just throwing it back in someone's face, or using it to weaponize and just be, that's not being a nice person. When you use something that someone has given you, and let's say it is part of their insecure bag, right? If you use that against somebody, you're fucking wrong.
Like, she already resents you. If she's saying that, she's been resenting you.
Yeah, that's just not cool. You don't do that to people. That's not how you get equality in your relationship. That is not.
You don't do that to somebody you love.
You don't,
or you're in love with, whatever. You don't do that.
Van Zant said that. Did y'all hear what she said a long time ago? She was on Oprah. She was being interviewed on the Oprah show, and she talked about how she doing something for this and this and that. And she was like, "My man, I ain't doing this. He ain't got no money."
Oh, wow.
She said, "Go back and look at it." She said, and she said that later on down the road. She said, "The moment I said that, our relationship was over."
Yeah,
you didn't skipping. You motherfucking right.
They didn't actually divorce for another, their relationship didn't end for another year and a half, something like that. But she said, from that moment, after I emasculated him in front of the world, it was done. It was done.
Don't do it, man. That's crossing the line. That's a boundary you don't cross. Unwritten rule.
She said that. You just can't take some shit back.
You cannot. So we're going to wrap this up because we wanted to end around 2:15, and we're going to give a chance for everyone to say their final words, as Q says. So let's start with Jules. Any final words?
Well, I haven't come on in so long, and I miss y'all so very much, and it's been so many years, and I'm grateful to be part of it. I'm sorry I missed the anniversary show, being able to jump on, but I'm glad y'all are keeping it going, and I so appreciate and love and adore all of you for your honesty, your willingness to be open and give perspectives and share with respect differing opinions. And I've learned so much from all of you, and I appreciate you.
Oh, we appreciate you.
You ain't missed nothing on that anniversary show. Smack and Nikki was acting up. You ain't need to be in there.
I was trying. I caught a few pieces of it. I couldn't.
They was acting up. You don't need to be.
You started it. You asked the fucking questions. I'm gonna answer.
Oh my god!
And then Max he heard the smoke signal. He seen the smoke signal.
So he came. He seen the bat signal.
But it was great. I think it was a great conversation though. So
it was. Yehukanan, any last words you want to wrap up with?
Oh yeah, I like the fact that you skip over that vulnerability question to the men. We didn't even get to it. It got segued, but it's all good. No, because I was ready to answer that, but it got segued. It's all
that could be your final words, Yehukanan.
Nope. That moment has passed. No. Yeah, overall it was a good show. I liked Stephanie, man. She impressed me with her. Ain't that your name, Stephanie?
Yeah,
Stephanie. Yeah. Yeah, the stuff that she was dropping on, that's experience speaking right there. And overall, all the women on the panel, just admitting to the fact that the men are needed, and they're tired of doing, and you guys are tired of doing the the all by yourself thing. Like you need that manly help. And I was on another platform, and I'm married, so I'm sitting back and I'm listening to everybody talking about these relationships and whatnot, and the caliber or the tier of men today. And the options that the women have are very, very slim. It's very, very slim. It's like almost to the point to where it's non-existent, and it could be vice versa as well. But the mere fact that you women that have gone through your life experiences and have been transparent to share it with viewers or those who may be tuning in later on, to acknowledge that, I think that will be helpful for those women that may see it, maybe older or younger, to learn that, there's some things that I need to correct or fix because I need a man, right now, because I can't do all the stuff around, the day-to-day stuff around the house. The men is needed. So I'll give kudos and salute to you women for even having the goal to do that, because not a lot of women have the humility to even express that. So I salute y'all on that one. I'm done.
Good, thank you. Yehukanan, Stephanie, do you have anything you want to wrap up with?
Well, thank you for letting me join. I never get on camera on these, but this one touched me. This one hits close to home. So I just appreciate it. And it's so funny. I ran up on Q in a parking lot at HEB. I was like, "Aren't you?" He's like, "Yeah, we're." Well, it was very, very nice. But I told him how much I love the show, and I'm always listening to it on Tuesdays. And this one was good because I think the first step in admitting you have a problem is admitting you have a problem.
Amen. Step one. Hello.
Saying it out loud and saying, I may have done this wrong. I need to refocus. It's powerful to say it out loud. Mm-hmm. So, and hopefully, now that it's out in the universe, it's boomeranging off of some of my great grandmother's strength, some of my grandmother's, femininity, because she was such a lady. So maybe now that it's boomeranging off some good shit out there in the universe, I'm going to have an epiphany. The more that I dive deep inside and say, yeah, you really do need a man. Stop letting these women tell you don't need a man.
Please stop letting them tell you that.
Yeah. So what, are you going to die alone and be a burden to your boys? Great. Because you're going to impact their marriages too. So how long are you going to continue to curse these doors that could be opened by just holding yourself back? That's all. Yeah. So thank you for letting me join. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for joining. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining. Sometimes people join at the last minute and it's just like, wait, were you even watching the show? But like,
Yeah,
you were clearly
the whole time.
engaged. You were clearly like really engaged, and
Yeah.
I like the energy and a lot of the topics that came up with you being on the show. So that was, I hope that you come back.
We stretched this out for you, Stephanie. You came
We
on like
we
124.
did.
Sorry,
Normally,
thank you.
Smack did that the other week. I'm like, nope, we still stopping at one.
I'm always late.
Like, I'm like, she actually jumped on. All right, we gonna stretch this out a little bit.
Right.
So I'm gonna go to Justin, and then after I go to Justin, I'll say something, and then I'm gonna let Q close us out. So Justin, is there any last words that you have?
No last words. It was a great show. Thank you guys for having me. And it was just really a great conversation. And just, it's always good to talk about these types of things and just to have open communication with people and getting different perspectives and whatnot. So yeah, thank you.
I want to say thank y'all so much. I mean, I'm just glad that y'all watched that video, because I just loved this interview so much and thought it was so interesting. That YouTube channel, they do a lot of interesting interviews. They'll like interview sex workers, they'll interview psychologists, they have all kinds of interesting interviews, but this is by far the most interesting one that I have seen. And so I'm glad that I was able to share this with y'all, and I'm glad that we were able to have the conversation that we had today. Everybody was so vulnerable and honest. I mean, we're sharing literally personal experiences that we've had. And because of that, we're allowing ourselves to grow. We're allowing each other to grow. And just hearing the women talk about wanting to get to that place of vulnerability, and the men then also sharing what makes them feel safe in relationships. I feel like this is like the building blocks that we need in order to end the gender war, because I'm tired of it. That's like my goal.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad that we were able to have these conversations. And even when it, there's like these tough parts of the conversation that we get to, we're still able to talk each other through things and take accountability. And I just think that's so beautiful. And so with that, I'm going to pass it to Q, and Q, you can go ahead and close us out for the night.
What about my thoughts?
Q, can I get a quote in there before you close it out?
It don't matter. I was gonna pass it to you, Nikki, anyway. It don't matter.
Sorry, Nikki.
What'd you say you hooking on?
I was gonna say, can I get a quote in there before you close it out?
Word? I'll be messing with him all the time. Yes, sir.
This is go to what Stephanie just said. So I'll say a quote from a clip that I seen years ago. So it goes like this: the first step to solving any problem is recognizing that there is one. I yield with that.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Anybody else got a second last word they want to say?
I got a first last word, not a second last word. I got a first last word.
Go, Nikki, I'm sorry.
No.
I was gonna pass it to you, Nikki.
No, I'll let you. You can do the benediction today. I'll let you close it up tonight. No, just I think what we did tonight was be vulnerable, and I think that is where the seed is planted. That's where the ripple is made. That's where the ripple is created, right? Like it whether it's for anybody else to see or not, it doesn't matter. It happened for us. Yeah. Every single one of us on here tonight felt something moved, something changed, something blossomed, something grew, something planted, something rooted. Something happened here. And that's what makes this so fucking powerful. You're either on a journey to be better or you're not. And that's just, there's only two places you can go with that. And I think that being vulnerable is a superpower. I think I was so scared of that for so much of my life because of the way that I love and because how I love. But I'm so okay with vulnerability today. I'm so okay with being wrong today. I'm so okay with asking for help today. I'm so okay with also knowing who I am, and that if my needs are not being met, I'm okay meeting them myself. I think that as we all come into who we are, we learn what works for us and what doesn't work for us. And the more that we talk about these things, the more that we normalize how we feel, it allows other people to also start to feel normal too, and identify with what feelings are. And that's how you create vulnerable friends and vulnerable relationships and vulnerable partnerships to where you don't want anything that isn't vulnerable anymore. You know, to your point, Stephanie, putting it out into the world, it will come back. It does. You know, my dad taught me that, but it ain't never gonna come back when you want it to. That's how that works.
Yeah.
It ain't never gonna come back when you want it to, but it will come back. And the more I just sit the fuck down and just do the work and be patient and be diligent and do what's right for me and by me and me only first, it always works out. And it will. And if I do the work, it will come. But I love talking about love. I've loved talking about happy love. I love talking about making love work. I love talking about the beauty of love, because it is. Don't ever let somebody tell you that men don't need women and women don't need men, because yes, the fuck we do.
It's magic.
Yes, we do. We do. And, you know, I
Say
keep
that one more
saying,
time.
do not let men tell you that they don't need women, and do not let women tell you that they don't need men, because we do. We are yin and yang. We are male and female. We are negative and positive, but together we are fucking amazing. We do need each other. And I'm so glad that I too have this space, because I've been able to dialogue with men and disagree with men and dialogue and disagree with women and learn so much about myself and other people that it just makes me better. At least in my heart, I think it makes me better. And it allows me to love people in ways that I never thought I could have loved people before. And it's beautiful, and I appreciate it. And I'm so grateful that you guys are part of this conversation. And I am all about talking about love, and not because I'm in love, because I'm not. Not because I'm seeking it, because I'm really not. But because I believe in that shit. And love does make the fucking world go around. I don't care what anybody says. Just speak from love, not from ego. Love from love, not from ego. And it'll carry us all so far. I appreciate this conversation.
Tongues. I've got goosebumps everywhere.
I so very much appreciate this conversation, Denise. And if you guys have not watched the video, go spend an hour and 15 minutes and go watch this video. And it's not about being scorned. It's not about being bitter. It's not about anything other than just what doesn't work and what does fucking work.
Yep.
And it's really not that hard to make it work. Yep. It's really not. We fuck it up. We fuck it up every time. Love it.
Dang, Nikki, dropping them Jews over there, girl.
I'm just saying. I keep seeing posts saying that we've spent so much time with men hating women and women hating men that, like, y'all keep talking about the pendulum swinging, that it's coming back around. And we're getting away from that man hating, women hating, men versus women shit. And we're coming back to, I need you. I want you.
Yeah.
I need you. And that's just all there is to it. So I appreciate you men for being men. I appreciate all the men for being men. I appreciate the women for being women. And those who are still trying, just keep fucking doing it. Keep moving your feet. Keep coming to these conversations. Keep opening your heart and your spirit, and it will fucking come. I believe that.
So, yeah, I even extend that to friendship also. That's why when I talk about my lack of deal breakers, I need my circle. I need my friends. Listen, I've said this. I say this often. I don't know how many people hear me say this, but I am so serious when I say this. If I call you a friend, it's damn near like the same way I speak about a marriage. Like, when I say I'm connected to you and I'm ride or die, then that's just it. We're going to work through whatever we need to work through. And like I said, if I need to rework some stuff in order for us to continue a relationship, I know you got insecurities here. Maybe I got to pull back in certain areas. I'm going to find a way that we can continue the relationship, because I absolutely feel that we need each other, especially in today's times. And it's not only in romantic relationships, but it's in friendships as well. It's in places like Free Thinkers. So Denice, that was a great job as always, which I know you do. You awesome. And I was bragging on you actually yesterday on my show on High IQ. I was talking to my sister. I said, I forgot what we was talking about. I don't even remember the topic of the show, but it was something about I don't remember the topic, but I was bragging on you about, I said Denice has the most that's what it was, because I was talking about how certain things spiritually, when you have an ego, then it'll work against you. Like, you got to make sure you lower your ego in certain areas. Yeah. And I started talking about you, because I was like, Denice is one of her questions are the most purest, inquisitive. Like,
Yes.
I said, because even when I ask a lot of questions, I be trying to lead or get to a certain specific, but she's like, her questions are so
like
pure
this.
and with the desire to really want to know and learn and understand. And I'm like, I don't know many people like that really just have questions from the purest of intentions of gaining knowledge and understanding. So anyway, I was saying I appreciate you about that. But anyway, all I will say, even going back to the video, it's the little things in relationship.
Yeah.
Things. And I've been saying that for a while. It's just the little things, whatever those little things are. When somebody walk by, just squeezing them on the shoulder when they walk by, smack them on the ass. When they, when me and my now wife started dating, I'd on her lunch break, I'll send her songs. I'll send her a song that I found from YouTube, a little love song. I send it to her, and that's 6, 7 years. If that's what she enjoys, and don't stop doing it just because you got her. Still send the songs. Oh shoot, let me send her a song. Let me send her a song. And it's just it's those little things. And then the other thing that he talked about is, well, this is the way I worded it. Take advantage of the sunshine. And what I mean by that, when things are going well, use those opportunities to ask questions and to grow and inquire about what the other person wants and needs. Don't wait till you get frustrated or mad. That's the wrong time. Like you were talking about, the wrong time to
learn how to fight when you're fighting.
When you're in the fight. No.
Yep.
Use perfect practicing ground. And so when things are right, then those are the peaceful, safe times to ask questions to where you'll get the best response out of a person, and you can really communicate without any type of negative emotions involved. So take that opportunity, and always take opportunities to learn and grow and evaluate. And what do we need to do different? What can we do better? Hey, we laughing sitting up here having brunch right now. This is great. Love, what is it that you'd like to see in our relationship? What are some things that you like us to add to our relationship? What type of dynamics yeah, we out having brunch right now. Is this something that we need to schedule a routine on? Is this something else that we need to just use that opportunity to add to? But anyway, all right, we're at 2:31. Thank everyone. This was an awesome conversation. Really appreciate it. Make sure that you like, share. Anybody that you think would benefit from listening to this, send it on down. Invite them to the page and invite them to the show. And for all of you who watch but are not yet connected to our YouTube page, make sure you subscribe on our YouTube page as well. And as always, just like Denice and just like Yehukanan the week before, if you have topic ideas, and even Stephanie, we use some of Stephanie's ideas too.
Yeah, we have.
A couple months back. If you have ideas, we will talk about them, and they usually turn out to be great shows because you can present different angles that in areas that we're not thinking of. So
you were supposed to have a part 2 from last week.
We might do that next week.
I think we'll go back to part 2 still, because we never got to the scientific part.
Yeah, the actual breakdown of we might actually do that next week if nobody comes up with another idea. We was gonna do that this week, and Denice was like, "Hey, I got an idea. If y'all ain't got none," I'm like, "Well, let's go."
It was like, "Bet you can have it."
That's what's up.
Yeah,
you can on.
No, it was great though. It was
It's
great.
all good.
So I appreciate the conversation with y'all.
Yeah, it was good.
Have a good night. We'll see y'all next Tuesday.